Good afternoon and welcome to the 171st episode of the Georgia Farm Bureau Georgia Prep Sports Drive for the GHSA state title. We are coming off a really busy weekend. We had the cross country state championships, the volleyball state championships, and of course the final week of the regular season. So the playoff brackets are set. I'm going to go over all of that. And then our guest today is going to be Holy Innocents head coach Todd Winter. They just clinched the region title this past week in Region 6 with a 30-0 win over Hapeville Charter. I think they've played a pretty difficult schedule, but it looks like in the last couple of weeks they've really come on strong. They had a big win over Stevenson last Friday. That was a game that kicked off at 3 o'clock. They won that one 42-14. So they closed it out strong. I'm interested to see what they're going to do in Class 4A in this playoff bracket. They're going to play Hampton in the first round, who is also 7-3 overall. But let's just get things started. I got to say one more time, just how busy this past week was. It's kind of felt like I was on like a 4-day plane ride going around the world, and there's turbulence, planes getting struck by lightning, there's malfunctions. I mean, just everything thrown at us. And now kind of is going to get easier, but we're going to have our final volleyball rankings posted today. We're going to have our basketball rankings are going to get released tomorrow, and then our pre-playoff football rankings are up now, and then we're going to be announcing our game of the week, the one we'll be televising in the first round. And so the reason that we haven't kind of locked that down yet, usually we announce it kind of the week before or at our game. Obviously, we didn't know what the matchups were going to be. There were a ton of close football games. The brackets really weren't set until Friday, and then as you guys probably know, the first round is going to be split between Friday and Saturday, and so I wasn't sure which classifications were going to be what day. I'm not the GHSA executive director, but it looks like 7A is going to be on Saturday, so I was not expecting that. I thought they might put some of the other classes there, but we're going to have a big Saturday this weekend, so our broadcast is going to be on Friday, so we're going to be picking from 6A, 4A, and 2A. Both of the single A classes are going to be on Friday. 3A is going to be on Friday. Sorry, I'm getting it backwards. Saturday is going to be 7A, 5A, 3A. And yeah, that's it. So we are choosing out of the Friday games, both of the Class A's, Class 2A, Class 4A, and Class 6A. So that'll be interesting, but we'll have 2 days to cover it, and I think that will allow us to have really up-to-date scores both nights and also great recaps where we'll really be able to break down what teams come out strong in the first round. And so that'll be exciting. I'll get into football in a second, though. I want to talk about volleyball, though. Thought it was a very competitive weekend. There's been years where it's kind of a trend where every team will take it 3-1. They'll have like that one bad set. There's other years where everyone just kind of comes out and sweeps. But this year, I'm telling you, there were some really incredible matches. Teams like GAC beating Chattahoochee I'll talk about, but I mean they were down massively in their first two sets. They came back from a 21-12 hole in one of them, I think, and rallied back. So it was just really exciting, especially on Saturday. But what we saw on Friday, the first one, Tallulah Falls was able to beat Mount Bethel. They won that in 4 sets, and it was a tough outing for Mount Bethel. They were the top-ranked team heading into it. They had a 18-10 lead in the second set. Tallulah Falls used a 11-3 rally and then clinched the 27-25 win in that set. So they took the 2-0 lead there. And then, Mount Bethel, sorry, that tied it up. And then Tallulah Falls 25-14 in the third set, just completely ran away with that one with 16 straight points to close out that one. And then they get the edge in the fifth. And so Coach Paul Stevens, he was kind of trying to have a positive attitude after that one, but I think he feels like his girls kind of let that one slip away. But all the credit to Tallulah Falls. They win their first ever state title. And that was a big result right there for both of them. They were making their championship debut. You also have in 3A, Morgan County was able to beat Oconee County. They had previously lost to them in the region championship game back on October 11th, so they were able to avenge that one. In 6A, Pope beat Sequoia, a similar sort of thing. They had massive rallies to get past that one. And then Mount Perrin swept Landmark Christian. And then on Saturday, you had Pace Academy. They swept Lovett 42-1 victory. And I talked to Coach Catherine Monroe after that one. And Ellie Siskin had an outstanding match. She's only a junior. And then they had a ton of freshmen step up, including Olivia Siskin, Ellie's little sister. So Pace Academy, a 42-1 season. First one in 3A, and that is their sixth straight title. So a big season for Pace Academy, and they were outstanding in the other sports as well. They broke Westminster's big streak in cross country. And then, let's see, the last one, Buford beating Lambert. That was a really close one, back and forth, 5 sets, and they won the final set 19-17. And that's their third straight state title. Lambert had a 19-game win streak heading into that one. So overall, I mean, I'll have those volleyball rankings out later today, but I thought it was a really interesting finals across the board. Some big results and a lot of parity this season. The reclassification kind of opened up opportunities for other teams, and I think it was a big weekend for sure. And then let's look at some of the cross-country stuff we have here. So Najee was on that this weekend. Let's see. Team in Class 7A, Marietta swept the boys and the girls, so that's big for them. They just had kind of the depth in that one. Jared Fortenberry, he finished the second fastest time in 7A. Richmond Hill's Memphis Rich clocked a 16:21 to take the individual title. On the girls' side, a name that we have been familiar with over the years, Samantha McGarity. She won by nearly a minute, 18-34. She was blazing. And then in Class A Division II, you had the Atkinson County boys won, and then Atlanta Classical girls. And then the team for Class A Division I, that was Division II. Armucci boys won, and then Screven County girls. So that was the Saturday. No, those were the Friday results. I'll get to the Saturday ones in a sec. But then back to football. So why has it been split up like this? It's been split up because there is I wouldn't necessarily call it severe, but there is a trend going. There is a shortage of referees, and that's been a concern for a while. The GHSA has been trying to reach out and get some more guys to come in, but it's kind of like a natural thing. You have these guys that have been officiating for a long time. They've got all these kind of different organizations that they operate out of, but they're starting to retire. And I thought Philip Hubbard, I think that's his name, out of Covington, he had a really good article. If you search just GHSA referee shortage, it came out 3 days ago, but he went deep into it. There was a calculation by Jimmy Hughes. He is a referee that belongs to the Northeast Georgia Officials Association, uh, based out of Athens, and he's also a teacher at Alcovey, and he is also one of the lead trainers for uh, the recruits and the next up and coming officials. But he points out three major issues that have kind of compounded into this shortage. The average age of officials right now is 56 years old, and he says that's not going to decrease either. So they really need to hit the younger guys and get them involved, and it is a kind of a commitment. I mean, it's not easy. You got to learn. You got to go through the training. So they've been really trying to, as he would say, hit the pavement, pound the pavement, trying to recruit younger guys. They've gone to college campuses. They're reaching out. So if anyone knows someone that might be interested in getting into officiating, I mean, clearly that would help. We do need that shortage and to be relieved. And also, it's not just that there's a shortage. Once the playoffs come, they increase the size of the crews. They add an extra player, or sorry, an extra official to each crew, and then you want them to have the playoff experience, or you want them to have experience working with each other. So if you have a crew that's typical, like working week after week together, and then you just throw a new guy in, that can be a problem. So you need guys that are used to working together. And so I think splitting it up, it is kind of disappointing to not have all the games on Friday, but I think at the end of the day, you got to have the proper officiating. So it was the right thing to do. It is out of necessity. And then same thing with the pay. I think it's well, he says that sometimes, I mean, if you're making $150 to officiate a game, sometimes that can be worth it. But then if you have a really bad night and you're just getting yelled at, disrespected, screaming, you're going viral on social media as the bonehead that missed the play, it's like, man, was that really worth it? Was that $130 worth it? So I think just some of the challenges of being put in that position, and the potential to have a night where there's some real vitriol coming at you if you didn't make the right call. I mean, that is something that is worrisome. It is something that they have to deal with. So we don't want to deter people from getting into officiating. We got to treat them with respect and know that they are an integral part of this. I know coaches have disagreements. There's sometimes you feel like the flag came out too many times, a hold. Maybe they called someone ineligible downfield where you look at the tape and it's not the case. But I think as long as we're working together, getting guys in that are willing to really take the craft seriously, I think it's something that can hopefully turn around. And then, yeah, so he just says it is. It's something you have to have a passion for, but if you want more information to help kind of reverse or buck this trend into the future, you can go to ghsa.net/officials. They have information there. You can find out kind of where each local region, kind of headquarters, and you can get involved there. I think that will be fun and really is exciting. I mean, just to be out on the field in some of these big games. I know you got to focus on the job, but I mean, it is something that I think people would have an interest in. It's very rewarding. So just wanted to point that out. That is why we have the game split up, and it is what it is. Well, let's just get into the brackets. Our game this past week, I did not get to watch too much of it. I tried to listen, but I had all the brackets in front of me, trying to get all the scores in, and really there were a ton of close games. I mean, normally if like a team is up 42 nothing in the fourth, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write it down in pencil and I'll check it later. But I mean, they were just so many close games, I couldn't do it, and really came down to the wire. And then there were so many three-way ties, also even four-way ties. Where I mean, it was just really difficult. But I want to start where we always start in the 7A bracket. I thought one of the biggest winners this season was Wheeler and what they were able to do. When they beat North Atlanta in the non-region, that kind of put them on the map to me. And then they turn around the next week and beat Cherokee to open the playoffs. Sorry, open the region. And I'm like, okay, what's going on there? And then I looked at it. I mean, Wheeler's rushing attack was outstanding. And it's a really young and talented team that Coach Love has been working on. And then they had just their middle school team, their JV team, had just beaten Kennesaw Mountain. I'm like, okay, they've got something going here. And they're able to take the number 3 seed out of Region 5 incredibly. And then Cherokee's win over Kennesaw Mountain, that kicked Kennesaw Mountain out of the playoffs. So that is really amazing, honestly. I mean, no one a few weeks ago was thinking that Kennesaw Mountain was going to be on the outside looking in, but they are. So that's North Cobb was the number 1 team out of there, Walton the number 2, Wheeler the number 3, and then Cherokee the number 4. So I thought that was really crazy. And then Wheeler is going to be squaring off with Lambert in the first round. Lambert was undefeated heading into that matchup last week against Milton, and then we were wondering what's going to happen in this one. Is Milton going to be able to really have this special season where they lost so much with the coaches, having to reinvent themselves? And Ben Reeves and his Eagles did it again, a massive win over Lambert. I was so impressed with that, and we'll see how Lambert kind of bounces back from that. I know that was disappointing for them to finish that thing at 9-1 instead of the region champs, but it is what it is. And then one more point on the Cherokee situation. So yeah, their 30-14 win over Kennesaw Mountain. They were down 14-0 in that game. 30 unanswered points. Really amazing, and obviously disappointing for Kennesaw Mountain. Game that they probably felt that they were in control early and just it got away, and Cherokee didn't give up. So all the credit to the Warriors.
Why do you think they sputtered down the stretch?
Why do I think? Oh, yeah. Well, I think it was interesting. You had like a Walton team, I think, lose to North Paulding. I think they played Kennesaw Mountain the next week and just absolutely steamrolled them. And then that was kind of the first hiccup for Kennesaw Mountain. And then I really don't know. Maybe something just in the game film got exposed as a potential weakness. But, I mean, I thought they were looking really solid going on. I don't know. We'd have to look into that on kind of what happened to them down the stretch this season. But, yeah, they certainly, especially after last year, having that historic best season, I thought they returned pretty much the bulk of that talent and were potentially even better this year than they were last year. And I think offensively there were clearly issues. I mean, to be up 14-0 and then not be able to put a point on the board after that, that is very concerning. And then it looks like some turnovers too. Ryan Martin had a 66-yard interception for a touchdown. Jace Jones had an interception as well. So, yeah, just turnovers. I think probably just preparation and, I don't know, lack of kind of focus at practice, maybe expecting to win games. And it's just, as the coaches say, it's not just expecting to win. You have to make yourself win. You have to actually go out and do it. I just think that they're going to have to kind of look at themselves in the mirror this offseason, just see how they can avoid another situation. Not being able to close games like that, play the four quarters, I know that's disappointing. I thought they were a really talented team. They probably feel like they could have had success in the playoffs, but just, yeah, it turns out they were just in that situation. They lost the three-way tiebreaker. So I was really shocked that they did not get in. Another team that I thought had a easy shot that I would say is like similar to Kennesaw Mountain is McEachern. They looked decent early and then just really did not close out the season well. They lost to Hillgrove in the season finale, a game they knew they had to win to get in. I think it's the same sort of thing. They're kind of like, what happened? Where did we lose kind of our grip on the season? And so very interesting, but I do want to look into that game, and I do not know too much about Cherokee this season. I mean, they're a good program, but I did expect Kennesaw Mountain to, I mean, they were in position to possibly win the region, and then, yeah, tough loss to Walton, North Cobb, and then that one to Cherokee. That one really hurt. And then, let's see, so you have Decula playing North Gwinnett. North Gwinnett handled business against Norcross. I think they're in a favorable side of the bracket to possibly make it into the quarterfinals where they're going to play potentially Colquitt County. You're going to have Harrison and Brookwood. I think that will be an interesting matchup. Harrison has been coming on a lot stronger. I think they're starting to have an identity offensively. And then Pebblebrook's the number 4 seed. They're going to travel down to Colquitt. Colquitt's the top seed, undefeated. And any team that comes out of Region 1 undefeated is a clear contender. Then in the bottom of that bracket on the left, South Forsyth against Walton. That will be intriguing. South Forsyth is able to close out with a win over West Forsyth. West Forsyth, another team I thought would have a chance of making the playoffs this year, but did not have success in that latter part of the season. Things kind of fell apart for them. Peachtree Ridge is back in the playoffs, but they're going to have to play Buford. Yeah, so that's going to be tough for them, but I thought Peachtree Ridge has had a good season. I think that's going to be a game that can grow from just facing Buford this year. They got a young team, first-year coach, so we'll see there. But I think South Forsyth Walton will be interesting. Obviously, the winner of that is going to play the winner of Peachtree Ridge and Walton. You have Newton and Marietta, another intriguing matchup. Newton obviously beat Parkview. They can hang with anyone. They've got an outstanding defense, and they have had big playoff wins in the past. Marietta, they got the 2 seed because they fell to North Paulding in the season finale. You have Lowndes playing Carrollton. That will be interesting. Carrollton, how good are they? How good are they this year? They've been undefeated. Lowndes is going to be a tough matchup, but I think they are playing with a lot of confidence, and they kind of have been using the same formula each week. They're comfortable with it, and they should continue. Valdosta Westlake will be interesting. I think with Valdosta, their defense is outstanding. The offense has been inconsistent. Parkview and North Paulding will be really interesting. 2 teams that can really throw the ball well. Parkview had that big win over Grayson to respond from their back-to-back losses to Brookwood and Newton. And then North Paulding, they recovered as well after a tough loss to Harrison with that big win over Marietta to get that top seed. That's big for them. Meadow Creek and Mill Creek will be an interesting game. I think Meadow Creek, they run great tempo offense. They're going to have their hands full, though, with Mill Creek and all those guys that we've been talking about. And then Denmark and North Cobb, that'll be interesting. Denmark's a great defense, and then got a potential Mill Creek North Cobb second-round matchup would be huge. And then the bottom right side of the 7A bracket, East Coweta at Camden County. I've been really impressed with Camden County. They're kind of back, getting the number 2 seed. They've had some big wins in that South Georgia region. People have been saying they think the Wildcats are back. They look really talented. Jeff Herron is back at his helm at Camden County, and I think they have been a really good team this year. Hillgrove and Grayson, that will be interesting. See if Hillgrove can challenge the Rams. The Rams are coming off that loss to Parkview. Um, I think they have the ability to win state, but I do not think they have played their best football yet this season. Still kind of waiting for them to really come out. They have a lot of talent, but we'll see if they can really put it together offensively with the passing game and the run game. Got hit in the face with a fly. And then Mountain View, Norcross will be interesting, and then Cherokee and Milton. So I expect Milton to handle business again. They've been so competitive. I think being able to emerge as the region champs is a big confidence boost for them. And once Milton gets that confidence going, they know they can go out and beat anyone. I think they really believe that, and I would not doubt them. So I like those first-round matchups. I really do. And then in 6A, let's see. I'm going to try to go over all of these. I'll do 6A real quick, and we'll take a break after that. But I think Douglas County, Allatoona will be an outstanding first-round matchup. Douglas County's Sire Hardaway, he's been back from that elbow injury. He put up 429 yards, I think, in that South Paulding loss this past week. But once he's back, they're getting comfortable again. They're getting back at full strength. I think just being in the playoffs, kind of resetting, they're going to want to really come out and play tough. Allatoona's had pretty much every game so far be extremely competitive. They've had great wins as of late, and also some tough losses, like the one that got away from them against Cartersville. And so I like that matchup. Then Lanier and Roswell. Roswell looks so impressive defensively and just overall execution against Alpharetta this past week to win the region title. You got Mundy's Mill and St. Pius, and then Evans and Thomas County Central. Thomas County Central is undefeated, and they had that big victory this week to clinch the region title, and that was against Northside Warner Robins. Very interesting there. And then Sequoia, South Paulding. That'll be a good one. South Paulding, as we mentioned, just got that win over Douglas County. Really, they have a loss to Rome and then a loss to Hughes. That really got away from them. But other than that, I think they have a ton of talent. Sprayberry is going to be playing Gainesville. Gainesville, we'll see how they come out in the postseason. And then North Atlanta against Lovejoy. That'd be big for North Atlanta if they can get a playoff win under their belt. And then I think Houston County, probably the toughest number 4 seed, maybe in these playoffs, is going to be playing top seed Brunswick. So watch out for that game. Brunswick is coming off a region championship win over Effingham County. They look outstanding. So I think Houston County on the road at Brunswick will be one to watch for sure this Friday night. On the other side of the bracket, you have Lee County playing, who I just mentioned, Effingham County. Lee County, their only losses were those pretty much last-second ones to Northside Warner Robins, and they did get beat by Thomas County Central, kind of came back on them. But I think Lee County has what it takes to make an extreme run. Riverwood's going to play Woodward Academy. I think Woodward Academy is a team that can advance far in these playoffs. Blessed Trinity and North Forsyth will be an interesting game. I like what I've seen from North Forsyth. BT's a tough running team. I think North Forsyth, though, has that balance, though. And then River Ridge is going to play Hughes. We will see if anyone can keep it competitive with Hughes. They've been so dominant. It's been ridiculous this season. 43 points per game average. Perfect regular season. They look unstoppable. And then Glen Academy is going to play Northside Warner Robins. That will be a tough matchup for Glen Academy. Northside has been just really good this year, coming out of that stacked Region 1 with Thomas County Central, Lee County, and Houston County. So they'll be the number 2 seed right there. Mora is going to play Marist. So that would be an epic second round game. The winner of Glenn Academy, Northside Warner Robins playing the winner of Morrow and Marist. You have Shiloh playing Alpharetta. See how Alpharetta responds after a tough loss to Roswell, and then Paulding County is going to be playing Rome. So really like the 6A bracket. I think it is Hughes' classification to win at this point. It's pretty hard to not think that with the way they've been rolling, but see how these other incredible matchups go with the Region 1 powerhouses and teams like Roswell and the rest of them. But we're going to go ahead and take our quick break, and I'll be back on the other side. Thank our sponsors, Georgia Farm Bureau.
Our mission has always been to support Georgia farmers. That's why we created Georgia Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, providing financial protection that farmers needed. While this remains the same today, we've grown to protect all Georgians through home, auto, and life insurance. From the very beginning and into the future, we stand for every Georgia community.
We are our Farm Bureau.
All right, welcome back. So let's see if I can get through these final brackets before we bring on Coach Winter. So in 5A, top left, we got Lithia Springs at Kell. A great matchup below them, Eastside at Calhoun. Eastside's a tough number 4 seed. Calhoun gets the number 1 seed out of Region 7. We'll talk about that one in a sec. McIntosh at Chambly, another interesting game. Chambly has had a great season. They fell by 2 to Decatur in the region title. I really like what Decatur's been doing also, but be interesting to see if this Chambly team can get a playoff win. As we've mentioned, they didn't even compete in a region last season. They were just trying to build the program back and be competitive again. And then Ware County, the top seed, they handled business against Coffee last week. They're going to be hosting Jones County. That is a really tough Region 2 versus Region 1 showdown right there. Centennial, they're coming off a big victory over, who was that? I think GAC. Yeah, they creamed GAC this week. They're going to be playing Mays. That will be a really outstanding matchup. Cass is going to play Jefferson. I think Jefferson has really been playing well. You got Arabia Mountain and Northgate, and then Statesboro against Dutchtown. I think Dutchtown has shown a lot of ability this season, and credit to them. They get the top seed out of Region 2 over Warner Robins, who's going to be playing Jenkins. Dutchtown, of course, beat Warner Robins this year. You have Tucker playing Northside Columbus. I like what Northside Columbus has done this year. First ever region title. They've been coming on really strong. Great passing attack. You got Dalton and Loganville playing. I think Dalton's a team that has a chance to win that one. They've been really competitive in that region with Cartersville and Calhoun. You have GAC playing Creekside. Creekside, watch out for them in 5A, a massive contender. You have Ola playing Coffee. Ola, of course, beat Jones County this season. They're in that Warner Robins region. So I think Ola is a team we need to possibly have on the show this week. I really like what they've been doing. Harris County is going to play Decatur. Clark Central, they got the close win over Winder Barrow, so they did make the playoffs after that rocky 1-4 start. They're going to have to play Cartersville, though. And then Jackson, Atlanta is going to have to visit Cambridge. We know how good the Bears have been this year. Now to my classification, 4A, Pace Academy is going to play Stevenson. I think that will be a good one. Pace Academy actually beat our next guest this year, Holy Innocents, to start the season. I think they've been really good. And then Stevenson, same sort of deal. I mean, they lost to Holy Innocents. That was that 3 o'clock game we talked about. But I think Pace Academy Stevenson will be incredibly competitive. You have Cedar Shoals playing Cedar Town. Cedar Town is the number 1 team in most polls. They've been undefeated, unstoppable. Burke County and LaGrange, that's going to be a really good matchup. LaGrange is coming off that win over Troop. I thought they had a chance to beat them. I had them number 8. I never took them out of my rankings this year, and LaGrange pulled it off. Outstanding win this past week over Troop, and it really was a must-win. Because if you look at it, you had Trinity Christian, Whitewater, and Stars Mill all having identical 4-2 records, And so Whitewater was the only team that lost this past week. Sorry, not Whitewater. Stars Mill lost to Whitewater. So Stars Mill was the only team out of those four that lost this week, and then they ended up missing out on the playoffs with a 7-3 record. So if Whitewater won that game and LaGrange didn't, Stars Mill would have had that tiebreaker over LaGrange. So that was a must win. And so they go from missing the playoffs if they lost that game to now the number 2 seed. I mean, you cannot overstate the importance of that Troop win. Baldwin is going to be at Bainbridge. Bainbridge looks really good, so that's a stacked side of the bracket. In the first round, this will be a great game right here. Westminster and Lovett, and kind of the Buckhead backyard classic right there. Sonoraville at North Oconee. I think North Oconee has state championship potential this year. They're outstanding. Trinity Christian is going to be playing Wayne County. Wayne County got the big win over Burke. I think that might have been the game on Monday. And then Shaw and Perry. Perry has been really good. I think they have state championship potential this year. Their only loss was a 1-point loss to Houston County in the season opener. You have Westover playing Spalding. Spalding's they had a loss to Perry, but they look really good. Whitewater at Benedictine. That will be incredible to see. Whitewater's number 4 seed. Benedictine's the defending state champs. You have Heritage Catoosa at Walnut Grove. Hateville at Stockbridge. I like Stockbridge this year. Westside Macon and Cairo. New Hampstead at Troop. Madison County at Central Carroll. Watch out for Central Carroll. And then Hampton at Holy Innocents. In 3A, Carver, Atlanta against Ringgold. Monroe area, the number 4 seed at Dawson County. That will be interesting. You got Liberty County playing Morgan County. Jackson playing Thomasville. Coola Creek playing Sandy Creek. Wesleyan at Stevens County. So a potential Sandy Creek, Stevens County second-round matchup would be really exciting. You got Hepzibah, Savannah Christian squaring off, Crisp County and Peach County. Dirty and Mary Person, Salem and Calvary Day Pickens against Hebron Christian. Bremen plays Cedar Grove. Upson Lee against Carver Columbus. Long County against Harlem. Oconee County at Lumpkin County will be a really good game. And then Douglas Atlanta against an Adairsville team that looks really good. They, of course, won the region title this year. In 2A, since I'm pressed on time, I'm just going to pick some of the big matchups in these final 3 classes. So in 2A, I think in this top left one, Columbia North Cobb Christian will be good. And then you have Mount Perrin playing Eagles Landing Christian in the first round. I think Berrien and Spencer will be interesting. Berrien's the number 4 seed, but they've been really good. Let's see, Worth County against Northeast. Fannin County against Athens Academy. Fannin County is coming off a big win over Haralson County, a huge win at that. And then you have Callaway hosting Washington. I think Callaway is my dark horse in 2A. And then, of course, Landmark Christian is going to play South Atlanta. South Atlanta has that potential too, but I think Callaway is the top team. Callaway, Fitzgerald on the other side. Yeah, those I'd be really shocked if they don't make it to at least the semis. Let's see, Class A Division I. I think Darlington in this upper left, they're probably the favorite at this point. They would potentially square off with Irwin County later on, but they're going to be opening the playoffs against visiting Athens Christian. Irwin County is going to be hosting Jefferson County. Bottom left, Raven County, they're playing Dade County. Raven County's undefeated coming into that. Yeah, they look really good. And then Social Circle also is a team that they're going to be hosting Whitfield Academy, but they have enough talent to kind of challenge anyone. You got Pelham and Dublin, Pepperell against Elbert County. Mount Vernon's going to visit Prince Avenue. And then Commerce against Tryon, I think will be a really good matchup over on that bottom right for sure. Yeah, Commerce at Tryon, probably the one I'm most looking forward to seeing. I think Tryon's had that historic season. Then in Class A Division Two, let's see. This one's going to be really good. Aquinas at Bowden. Anyone that knows about Bowden, that is a historic program. They're the top seed. They are really having a special season, and Aquinas is a really talented perennial playoff team as well. So I think that's a good number 4 seed, Aquinas at number 1, Bowden. I think that will be a really good matchup. You have Macon County at Wilkinson County. That will be good. Dooley County at Jenkins County. Seminole County at Charlton County. Christian Heritage at Greene County. Christian Heritage was part of that 3-team Region 7, so the 4 seed is a bye, and that's Lincoln County. So Lincoln County is on to the second round already. So Lincoln County is the first to make it to the Sweet 16, and then you're going to have Wilcox County hosting Montgomery County, and then Washington Wilkes at Mount Zion Carroll, and then Georgia Military at Schley County. Or some people say it's Schley. I think it's spelled like Schley, but maybe I'm getting it wrong. But I think they are the number 1 team at this point, if not Bowden. So that'll be interesting. I really like these first-round matchups, and honestly, the fact that they're played over 2 days, it doesn't bother me. I work every day anyway, so it will be fine. But no, we'll have all that coverage on Friday. We'll get that kind of extra hands on deck with kind of less games than usual, and we'll really have the playoff picture in our minds, just being able to get more kind of context added into our recaps, seeing some trends as well. Like, we'll be able to look at the matchups. I mean, when you have a team like Carrollton opening the playoffs, it's like, let's see what they do now. It's like, have they been holding anything back? What's kind of that attitude and focus? I mean, when you see these first-round results, sometimes you can tell which teams have leveled up, hit their stride, and are kind of gearing up for a big playoff run. So I'm really excited about this week. I think it will be great, and we'll have a wonderful guest on after this, though, with Holy Innocents' Todd Winter. Okay, we can just go to him right now. Coach Winter, thank you so much for coming on. How's it going?
Great. Appreciate you guys having me on today.
Yep. No, I really wanted to because I've been interested in 4A. Of course, I'm biased because the classification I cover, but if you think about it, it's the middle classification in the state. With all the turnover this last year, with the reclassification, I thought it probably experienced the most. And when you look at this landscape now, I mean, it's been a really impressive season. And then I was looking at just the way you guys have competed in recent weeks. Looks like you guys are really starting to hit your stride.
Well, I mean, we're pretty happy.
I think I heard him coming back. Coach, we got you? All right, we'll try that again. But
Am I there?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
I'm on my phone here, so. But no, we're very happy with where we're at right now. I mean, yeah, I think we've played some good football as of late. I think we had a good season. Obviously, region champions, but you know, it was a big move for us. You know, we were single A. Now we're playing 4A ball. I mean, it's taking a toll on us. Obviously, I mean, we're a little banged up. I mean, we haven't had our 22 starters on the field one game all season, so it's kind of been a next man up mentality. But I think we have a great coaching staff, kids that really play for one another. You know, we're playing really good on defense, and you know, it's I think we're in a good position. I mean, we're very happy to be the number 1 seed. I'm not going to lie about that.
certainly, and you might not have all 22 guys, but I think a guy that's been filling multiple roles for you guys and kind of being that two-way, three-way players, Zach Johnson. I mean, what have you seen from a guy like him? And just how big has his play been for you guys?
Well, it's Zach Jackson. No problem
Sorry,
there.
Jackson.
No, that's okay. No, he's really played extremely well. I mean, we are pretty much two platoon. We have about 3, 4 guys that'll swing a little bit. He's a guy we just can't take off the field. I mean, as a defensive back, as a corner, he has really hit his stride these last few games. I mean, he has become very dominant at the corner position. And then as a split in for us, we run triple option, so we get a lot of one-on-one coverage out there. And he has really taken his game to a new level, and we're very happy about that.
Absolutely, yeah. He had 2 interceptions in that big Stevenson win. I want to go back just to kind of the way the season opens. You're new to the classification. You're playing Pace Academy. They're also new. I think Pace has had a really strong season. But what do you see just in terms of your health going into that first matchup, and what were you able to take away? Because it looks like was a really solid game and a good way to kind of test your guys out of the gates.
Yeah, I mean, game one against Pace, they ended up kicking a field goal with 2.4 seconds on the clock to beat us. I mean, we could have won that football game. We had some guys out in that game that really hurt us, but we found out a lot about ourselves. I mean, I think one of the biggest things that when you look at Pace and you look at Westminster and Lovett, for example, they've been playing up in classification. We have not been playing up in classification. And for us to make that move this past year, we felt it was the right time. We had to, I guess, kind of learn some things along the way and, and get our stride. But that was a tough one. We defense came on the field late in the game when it was tied up 17-all, and we intercepted a screen pass, and we just could not move the ball correct to Pace in that situation. And then they got the ball back and was able to go about 70 yards, hit a couple plays, and kick the field goal to win.
Would you say Riverwood's kind of the only team you guys had been playing up against in the recent seasons?
We had not played Riverwood since 2017.
Okay. So, yeah, that was
Yeah,
another big one. So,
yeah.
yeah, very
We
interesting.
were a little, yeah, we were a little shocked by that one, to be honest with you. I mean, we thought they'd be a little better, but they weren't at that point in time. I'm sure they'll be excited to get to play us again next year. But the other team we played week 3, Christ Episcopal School. I mean, they're 10-1. They won their region. They're the number 1 team in South Carolina. We beat them 40-0. And then we went to Innsworth. I mean, Innsworth is a powerhouse, and it's 9-9 with 7 minutes to go in the game, and they hit a pass. I mean, they've got some good football players, and then we were pretty banged up against Douglas. We didn't have a starter in the backfield, and then Westminster. Oh, that one, that haunts us. I mean, we're winning 14-7 with 2:58 on the clock, and they got to go 83 yards. And, we're down one corner. We lost early in the game. We lost them for the season. Then our other corner cramps up, and then they run a jet reverse double pass and get it to the 3 and score, and then end up getting the 2 points. So, I mean, we could be 9-1. We are not 9-1. We're 7-3. We know that, and but we've learned from those games, and but we feel like we played a very good schedule. I mean, if you go all the way back to our scrimmage game against Commerce, which we won, 8 of our 11 teams we played this year in the playoffs. So I feel like we're battle tested. I mean, and I think Hampton's a good football team we got coming in here.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the team that might not be is Miller Grove. They're outstanding. They were, of
Oh,
course, in your
good.
region.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you another great team in the region is Southwest DeKalb. I
that's
mean,
right.
you look at Southwest DeKalb. I mean, they lost, and just in our region, 21-27 to Westminster. They lost 22-21 to Hapeville. They lost 26-21 to Miller Grove, and we beat them 36-34. Now, that last game, they must have just, against Stevenson took it to them, but they are a good football team. I mean, extremely fast, very physical. I mean, so I mean, I feel like, the thing about our region, I mean, Druid Hills, Clarkston, and Stone Mountain are not playing a region schedule. Our region is very, very competitive. I mean, every team in there is battling for the region title. I mean, in Hapeville Charter, I know we played them Saturday night and we beat them 30-0, but they're a really good football team, a really good football team. And we saw what Miller Grove did, to Westminster last Thursday. So I feel like we're ready for the playoffs. Now we've got to show up and play. We got to stay humble. We got to stay hungry.
Absolutely. And yeah, Hapeville Charter just played a ridiculous schedule this year. So, yeah, their record does not represent it. And you were talking about Christchurch out of South Carolina being, I think 10-1. But yeah, Innsworth, they're the number 9 team in Tennessee right now. And I was kind of looking at their schedule. All their losses seem to be really close too. But one thing I want to ask about Pace Academy, you said they kicked that last kind of second field goal, but it looks like you had a big field goal in that one too with is it Graham Forgy or Forgy
Yeah,
had that?
Graham Forgy. Yep.
Forgy,
He had,
yeah.
he had a he had a big field. Well, Graham Forgy, sophomore. I mean, and here's the thing: a lot of people probably don't know about us. I mean, we're still, we're still just trying to get a little bit better each week. But defensively, we only have 2 seniors starting on defense. All our kickers are Graham's a sophomore. I mean, we got we got most of our backfield back. So we're still a very young team. We're just trying to get a little bit better each week.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, the defense has been really impressive though. Uh, yeah, the shutout win over
Well, I mean,
Riverwood.
I want to make sure we give all credit there. I mean, Nick Parada, our defensive coordinator, has just done an outstanding job with our defense. I mean, he came to us in 2020. We had a good DC before that. We've been pretty successful. I feel like in the last 5 years. I mean, the only team, we look at Marist, Pius, Leavitt, Westminster, and Pace, and the only team that's won more games than us in the last 5 years is Marist. So I feel like we're heading in the right direction. We're trending upward at least. But Nick Parada has done an outstanding job preparing our defense week in, week out.
Yeah, it looks like you guys have been good at limiting the big plays too. I mean, I really hadn't seen many of these opponents breaking off like these 40, 50, 60-yard plays.
Yeah, the only team that did that all year was Southwest DeKalb. I mean, we have really done a tremendous job of making them earn every inch they get. But I'll tell you, Southwest, we've played a good schedule now. They had the fastest running back we've seen all year. And, man, that kid was quick, fast. I mean, I think it was first play of the game, he went 86 yards against us. I mean, we were down 14-0. And, we jumped back in it. We were down 21-14 at the half and then just kept clawing our way back. But, they got some big-time playmakers. But, yeah, Nick does a great job. Obviously we're prepared. But, that's our – like with any team, our number one goal is to, eliminate explosions and be solid against the run.
Yeah, and then offensively, obviously with that triple option, you mentioned just the youth of your team overall, but I mean, how many guys are typically in that rotation for you guys just to continue to keep that system of offense moving?
So I'm not. What do you mean by rotation?
Just in terms of how many guys are getting handoffs. Looks like it's Stephen Jones, Connor
Oh,
White,
yeah,
Nick Moran,
yeah,
Jacoby Murray.
yeah. I mean, we play 3 B backs. We'll play 3 A backs at least, and sometimes 4. And here's the thing with the triple option: I cannot tell you who's going to get that ball on Friday night. I mean, they're going to tell us who's getting the ball. Is it the B back? Is it the quarterback? Is it the A back? I mean, the one thing about our kids, I mean, they don't care who gets the ball. Our A backs are going to block, for the other A back. They're going to block for the B back, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we had a pretty special player, the graduated 19, Michael Cox, who rushed for all these great yards. But, I mean, no one on our team comes in on Sunday in the meeting and says, Coach, how many yards did I have? It's all about, did we win the football game? I'll be honest with you, I don't even know who's our leading rusher. I don't even look at the stats. I know you think I'm probably not telling the truth, but we got some company that does the stats. I don't look at them. What I look at is, I go back to the tape. Did we get ourselves in the right play at the right time? And number one, are we taking care of the football? We've played 10 games. We've had 6 turnovers, which, we had went after the second game. We'd gone 6 games without a turnover. But, 6 turnovers, I mean, that's 0.5 a game. We've got to be better in that area. And then our next thing is we just have to get a first down every time we get possession. Keep that rhythm and then eliminate penalties. That's what I look at. If we're doing like this past game, we had no turnovers. We were 8 for 8 on getting a first down on each possession, and we had 1 penalty. And we won 30-0. When we're not successful, we're not getting that first down on each possession, or we're turning the ball over. So, we really look at the analytics, when we're going to go for it on fourth down, what's the situation with our turnovers? I mean, we try to run and do things like the Hapeville Charter game. I mean, we're up 27-0 at half. I mean, everybody's kind of like, what happened? You guys only scored 3 points. Well, our thing was, hey, we're going to halftime. They're going to get 4 possessions. This is the region championship. All we got to do is bleed that clock. So we had a lot of non-option plays we ran, but we ate a lot of clock up. We got a first down, kept that clock going. Defense, all they do is get 2 stops. We're probably going to win the game. And, of course, we stopped them every time. But that's, who we are. I mean, we try to play complementary football. We hope that our defense can get us stops, get us some short fields, and then we want to keep them off the field. I mean, most of the time, we will be on the field offensively more than our defense.
Yeah, for sure. And so you mentioned that no 3-and-outs in the last couple games. But you said you had 6 turnovers offensively. Where are you at, like in the plus minus? Because you guys have obviously had a lot more turnovers you guys have produced.
Yeah, I think, once again, I'm not. We have an analytical guy that looks at all that for us. I think going into the game, we were like, I would say we're probably around 20 on the plus side.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I could, find that information immediately, but I mean, for us, it's, I know we had 3 takeaways last game and we had no giveaways, and I thought we were 24-6, so that put us at 18, so we're probably plus 21.
Yep, and you produced 3 turnovers in that Westminster game as well. So, yeah, I mean, the defense, you feel confident with them, the way they've played, haven't been kind of giving up big plays. The offense is able to keep control of the ball as well. And then just in terms of special teams, what have you seen just from the effort of your coverage guys? Looks like you have had maybe a couple different punters. Is that Nick Morgan and Zach Johnson?
Yeah, no. So kick game wise, I mean, I feel like, Graham, he's a sophomore. He's doing an excellent job. Our kickoff coverage has been pretty solid. Our punt game has been solid. I mean, so if we're on the right hash, we have a right-footed kicker. We're a directional kick team. I don't think I'm giving any secrets away there. And then we're on the left half. Nick, he's our left-footed punter. So, and our return game's been solid. I mean, we got to get better in all aspects of every phase of our game, but our kick game has. We definitely, this past game, what we look for is we try to make sure that if we can keep our opponent. So here's the data on this. If our opponent starts with a football on the 31-yard line on a kick return or greater, there's an 87% chance they're going to score. If we can keep them on the 30-yard line or less, there's a 12% chance. So last game, one time they got outside the 30 and they almost scored, but our defense battened down the hatches and kept them out. So, everything we do is based on data and analytics. So, but we're playing pretty well in the kick game and in all phases. But we got to keep getting better.
Yeah, and I think 4A this season has definitely gotten better all around. I mean, the way all these teams are playing, Cedartown, LaGrange, Troop, Westminster, Pace Academy. I mean, there are just so many good teams this year. But what have you seen just with Hampton now that you guys have them in front of you, this first round matchup, just the first impressions you've gotten just from them, just what they've been able to do this season.
Well, I mean, I think they got a really good quarterback. He's very dynamic. They run that read option, a lot of zone read, a lot of RPOs. I mean, he's the playmaker. It all goes through their quarterback, and if we can contain him, I think we'll have a fighting chance. Defensively, solid football team. They have not played a triple option team this year. Obviously, they played Marist last year. Kind of know what they did against Marist last year. So we'll be prepared there. I mean, kick game wise, I think a solid team in that regard too. I mean, they're 7-3. It's their best season in school history. I mean, they opened that school in 2014. I mean, I think one of the positives for us is they have to travel up to us, which is always a positive playing at home. Their losses are to Pace, who I think is a good football team. Obviously, they lost one to Lovett, who's another good football team. Stockbridge, a very, very good football team. And then, they pulled off a great victory over Central Carrollton. I think Central Carrollton
That's
was
right.
a very good team. That was a big victory. I mean, we've got to be hey, my defensive coordinator just texted me. We've forced 30 turnovers this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess we are now plus 24. So
That's awesome.
He does an outstanding job. I mean, we're just hoping, we're just lucky to keep him here. I mean, he's going to get snatched away here by somebody. He's going to be a great head coach. I mean, but anyway, yeah. I mean, I think Hampton. I mean, we got to stop the quarterback. And that's the big thing there. Got to stop him.
Yeah, well, I completely forgot they beat Central Carroll. That is a really impressive win. Says a lot about them. 7-3, a great first-round matchup, outstanding test for you guys. So, Coach, thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck this week, and we'll be watching you guys on Friday.
Hey, thank you, and appreciate everything you guys do for high school football in Georgia.
You bet. All right, go Golden Bears. So that was Coach Winter and Holy Innocents. I think he walked us through that schedule of what they've been able to do. I think it's pretty clear, the offense, the triple option, the defense, the way they've been playing, limiting the possessions, winning in the kicking game, and all those turnovers they've produced. That is really impressive. A newcomer to 4A, but a team that I think has definitely had a great debut, and we'll see how they handle business this week. So we'll have all that coverage for you guys. Be sure to check back scoreatl.com, our social media at Score Atlanta. Be sure to follow myself and Najee Wilkins. We have a lot of the content coming out on our pages. We'll retweet it all, and we will be back live for the underrated and overlooked debut tomorrow. And that's going to be fun. We're going to be hitting some high school stuff, but also talking about the Georgia game this past week, some college football, and even some NFL. Just a good opportunity for us to kind of go into, I'd say it's not necessarily the bigger, but just some of the things we don't normally get to talk about. I thought that Georgia win, by the way, if you watched the show on Friday, Najee called it. Absolutely called it. Said Georgia's defense was too much for Tennessee, and then Tennessee's defense wasn't going to be able to provide that same advantage. And, yeah, that's the way it played out. And I saw on game day only Luke Bryan picked the Bulldogs. So people jumped on that Tennessee bandwagon pretty fast, but that certainly didn't work out. They're one week at number one in the polls. That didn't last long. So we'll be back, though. Got a great week for you guys. Thank you for tuning in.